I'm Chef Lynn. Welcome to the Flavor Secrets Kitchen. Today we have a guest. This is Meg Farron. Meg is a busy working mom and interested, like most people are, in learning a lot of quick dishes and fun things to cook that are easy. So today is dessert day here. We're planning on making some creme brulee. You'll be surprised, I think, at how easy this elegant dessert is to make. It also has very few ingredients. This recipe that we're making today makes about 12 ramekin desserts of creme brulee. All that goes into it is heavy whipping cream, sugar, whole milk, and egg yolk. So let's get started. Oh, and also the vanilla bean. I can't forget the most important part. This is a vanilla bean, and they usually come in vials like this of 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6. You can find them different places. They carry them at Plum Market. You can also find them at Costco sometimes, and Penzi Spices is a really good place to buy vanilla beans also. Now here's a little trick that I think you'll enjoy. As you can see, I'm taking some kitchen scissors and I'm just cutting up the middle of the bean. The reason is because I want to release the flavor of the bean, and the flavor is all inside here in the seeds. You can see that I can actually spread it with my thumb and bring those seeds right out with my thumbnail. And then drop them in the cream. When I'm planning to make creme brulee, I usually think ahead and put the seeds from the vanilla bean into the cream a day or two before. And that gives the cream a really beautiful vanilla taste. And then I'll just drop the vanilla bean right in the cream and leave it in there so that it continues to flavor it. But I wanted to show you today how to split that bean. And the reason I'm doing that is then it's easier to fish out of the hot mixture at the end. Okay, so all I did was dump the cream in there, and then I'm going to mix it with, that was a quart of cream. I'm going to mix it with 1.25 cups of sugar, and then you can stir that up. And we'll turn the heat on pretty high underneath it because we want that to heat up until it scalds. So scalded cream is when it just starts to boil and it just gets kind of a little skin on the top of it. That means it's scalded.
Lynn, does this dish need a wooden spoon?
It's a good idea to use a wooden spoon for it instead of a metal spoon because then you're not scraping metal on metal in the dish. Okay. And also we can tell then when it's ready because the creme brulee will actually coat the back of the spoon. If you have a metal spoon, things slide off of it. Now also I wanted to tell you too, if you don't have a vanilla bean, but you happen to have vanilla and or vanilla paste in your cupboard, you can go ahead and use those. They don't really taste that much different, so either one is just fine.
Should I keep stirring, or just?
You don't have to stir right. You can just let it sit there until it starts to get, because we want that to get hot as quickly as possible. We probably should have started heating that up before. Okay, now I've got 15 egg yolks. Remember, this makes 12 ramekins, so each dessert just has a little bit more than 1 egg yolk in it. And we'll put this in the dish here. You can notice too that I saved all of my whites. I don't like to throw anything away. They're over here in this container. And I always save them, and then the next morning we'll have something like an egg white omelet for breakfast, or you can actually use those in recipes and they'll keep for a long time in the refrigerator, several weeks at least.
And you can't freeze them, can you?
You can, actually, that's a good question. You can freeze yolks. Okay. What I like to do is put them in really small containers and then mark how many egg yolks are in there or how much it is, if it's a half a cup or whatever, and then put it in the freezer so I know exactly what it is. And you can keep those frozen for 3 or 4 months at least.
And then do you just defrost them room temperature? I mean, you're not going to put them in a microwave to it'll cook it.
Right, exactly. That's a good point. You wouldn't put it in the microwave to cook it because it would cook it, but I would defrost those in the refrigerator, not at room temperature. Just take them out the day before you want to use them and they'll be fine by the time you're ready. Okay, so we've got here a whisk and our 15 egg yolks. To the egg yolks, I'm adding 1/2 cup of whole milk. And then we want to whisk that. Do you want to come over here and whisk it?
Sure.
Okay, now you're whisking, not stirring, right? Will you show them the difference? Do you know the difference? Right.
I just learned this the other day from you. So this is stirring, and this is whisking.
Right.
Back
whisking
and forth.
is getting it back and forth through the tines of the whisk. And you get a much better mix if you do that. Okay, while you're doing that, this is starting to get hot. While you're doing that, I'm going to pop over here and grab a ladle.
Does it matter if there are bubbles in it? I mean,
no, it doesn't matter if there are bubbles in it. You just want to make sure that it's totally mixed so that you don't see any of the white parts of the egg.
Yep, looks good.
Looks good. Okay, we can just put this whisk back over here.
Okay.
Out of the way. Get this close to our hot mixture. Now you probably can't see that, but this milk is starting to boil around the edges. So that's how I know it's hot enough. But just to double check, you can stick a thermometer in there and make sure it's like 180 degrees.
Can you add other essences, orange, lemon to these?
That's a good question.
Creme brulee?
Yes, you absolutely can. You can use any kind of extract in it.
Okay.
Just add it at the end with the eggs.
At the end, okay. Creme brulee is my favorite dessert. We go and we test when we go out to dinner. We have a rating system.
A rating system for creme brulees? And where have you found the best?
In all honesty, Bloomfield Hills Country Club.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
As long as it's
A
prepared.
great statement for Chef Brian Grenowitz.
Yes. Well, and as long as it's brought out right away and they've, torched the top of it.
Okay, we're at 170. We want it to be at least 180. So it's going to take just another minute. Speaking of different flavors too, you can see that I have the ramekins all set out here on the side. Creme brulee can be presented in lots of different ways. We've got sort of an oval fluted ramekin here, which is my favorite way to present it. We've also got some round ramekins, these are called, or some bigger ones. It just depends on how much creme brulee you want to serve to your guests. And also I found these at Sur La Table. They're just little tiny creme brulee molds, and they have maybe 4 bites in
Creme
them.
brulee shot.
And I bought 40 of these, so now I have plenty for a party. I thought that would be a fun little dessert. You can also put things in the bottom of your creme brulee. One of my favorite things to put in the bottom is chocolate chips. And that's kind of fun because you just run into a little chocolate surprise as you're eating your creme brulee. You can put nuts in there, just don't put too many so that the custard can cook properly. Okay, we're well over 180 now, so that's fine. So now we just have to combine the hot liquid with the eggs. And we have to do it in a way that won't cook the eggs. So this process is called tempering. We're going to temper the hot liquid into the eggs. So you want to come around here again? I should have had you just stay there. And you start whisking.
Okay.
And so if, let's say you're a person who's right-handed, you can use the ladle with your left hand and just dribble it in. And what we want to do is add this very, very slowly. Let's move over here a little bit so it's easier for them to see. We want to add this, you can whisk a little harder. We want to add this very slowly to the eggs so that they don't heat the eggs up too much and cause them to cook. So now you can see that you're whisking your little bits of vanilla out.
I noticed the heat as it heated up, it started to separate a little bit too. So.
Right. Okay, so I'll move this over here just a little bit closer. When you have a plastic glove in your hand, which I have today because I have a little owie, it intensifies the heat. So you want to keep it away from heat or cold. Okay, and we'll just continue whisking, and I'm pouring the hot liquid right into the tines of the whisk so that they'll be dissipated right away.
And I'm working on my arm strength.
Yeah, you have to make a lot of this, boy. Now feel the side of the bowl, Meg. Can you see that it's started to heat up?
Yes, but it's warm, it's not too hot.
When the side of the bowl gets pretty warm, then you can just dump the rest of it in. Whisking, whisking, whisking.
Do. Put a little music on in the background and whisk.
And it is getting a little bit foamy. That's okay. We're going to take care of that in a minute. I'll show you how. And
That feels pretty warm.
See those really lovely little bits of vanilla in there. Now if you want to, at any point you can fish that bean out and scrape it again so that you add even more vanilla taste. Any time now I can probably just start. Oh, we'll do one more ladle.
You want my
now feel the side of it. Yeah. It's getting pretty hot now.
Yep.
I remember one time in culinary school I had to make about a gallon of hollandaise, and I thought my arm was about to die.
Yeah, Lynn, it's there.
Okay, so it's hot.
No, it's there.
Okay.
Smells good too.
So now we can bring the rest of it in here more quickly. And I just left the bean in there. Okay, that's good. Now if you want to, you can take this vanilla bean, scrape out, as I said, using your nail, more vanilla if you want to add in there. You can also dry this and put it inside sugar, put it in a container of sugar that's closed and make your own vanilla sugar. Okay,
all good.
Now it's time to put this into the ramekins. Now I have something here that's called a sauce funnel. And what the funnel does is it helps to get rid of all these bubbles.
Okay.
So this is a really great tool. They're a little bit expensive, but you can find them at jbprints.com. And they come with a little screw on the end of it. So you're supposed to be able to regulate how thin or how thick the stream is that comes out. But for this purpose, I just take it off. Funneling it down is enough to get rid of the bubbles.
And it's that Prince, Prince?
Right, exactly. Okay, so now we're just going to pour this in here. JB Prince has a lot of chef tools. You can find just about anything there, from a heated spatula to an ice cream machine. Okay, so what I want to do now is keep the tip of this underneath the liquid, and that will keep air from going into the ramekin, into the custard, I should say. And you can fill this right up because creme brulee doesn't rise at all when it cooks. You want to try it?
Sure.
Then you just keep filling this up. Good. Keeping the tip underneath keeps the bubbles from forming. If you don't have a sauce funnel, though, don't worry about it. Just use a ladle to move the custard into the ramekins, and then you'll have some bubbles. Just take a toothpick and prick them, or if you want to, you can use a gloved finger to get rid of the bubbles. Now you notice that she did not, here I'll give you a little more.
Okay.
She did not fill this really full, and I wouldn't either, because I'm going to put these all in the oven on the same tray, and so I want them to be about the same height so that they'll all cook evenly.
What else can you use this tool for?
You can also use that tool for decorative sauces. Let's say you want to put a red sauce on a plate and you want it to be very thin. You could use it to decorate a plate, or for plating any sauce. Let's say you wanted to put a gravy on top of a piece of chicken, and you don't want all those bubbles in there and you don't want it to be frothy. That's a way to keep it from happening. But as I said, you don't have to have that particular tool.
Uh-oh.
If you don't have a cookie sheet with sides on it, this used to be called a jelly roll pan, but nowadays most cookie sheets have sides. If you don't have one, you can just use a casserole pan like this one here. You just need something with sides because we'll cook these in a what's called a hot water bath. And she's almost done filling those. That's good.
Just even them up just
okay.
a teeny bit.
Now these will go in an oven that is preheated to 350 degrees. And what we'll do after we put them in the oven is quickly close the door so we don't lose heat, and then take some kind of a pitcher. I always use this one, and I use my hot water tap and it's just a plastic pitcher. I use my hot water tap and put really hot water in about up to here, and then open the oven quickly again and pour this water carefully into the cookie sheet. And then the water will come up, will just kind of run all around, bubble, run all around in between these, and we'll fill this cookie sheet about halfway up each ramekin with water, and that will keep the custard from burning during the cooking. But for the moment, we'll just set these over here because we want to show you how to finish off the dessert by torching it. I just happen, from the magic of the Flavor Secrets kitchen, to have 2 already completed. So we'll be able to show you how to finish these off. Now, if you don't have a torch or you don't want to torch your creme brulee, you can also just put some pretty something on top of that. Like, I like to sprinkle toasted coconut on it, or you can put a little design of berries, or you could use nuts or anything you'd like. So use your imagination with that. Today we just have some plain vanilla creme brulee here, and we want to torch this at the last minute. One thing that's really great about creme brulee is it's make ahead. You can make the custard ahead of time, days ahead of time, and keep it really for up to a week, and then just bake off as many as you want whenever you can. Once they're baked off, you can keep them in the refrigerator. You want to put plastic over them or some kind of a cover, but try and arrange it, try and tent it a little bit so that the plastic doesn't touch the creme brulee, or it'll wreck the consistency of the top of it.
So so you can, you bake them and then it'll stay for a week, or you keep the custard unbaked in the refrigerator?
Either way.
Okay.
So you can keep the unbaked custard in the refrigerator and then just bake them off as you want them, or you can keep these, they will probably last about a week, but they'll be best within 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
What you don't want to do until the last minute is decorate them, okay? You don't want to put fruit on there because it'll get moldy and look icky after a while. So you want to decorate them and or torch them the day that you serve them, or the afternoon that you serve them. Actually, let me back up a little bit. You can torch them several hours ahead, and you can put the berries on at the last minute.
Okay.
Don't do that several hours ahead. Okay, now I've got some just plain white sugar here, and I'll sprinkle it on the top. Another thing you need to know is that sugar is a humectant. Sugar is attracted to moisture. So you don't want to do too many of these at a time. I usually will, if I'm doing a lot of creme brulees, I'll sprinkle the sugar on 2 of them, and then I'll torch 2, and then I'll sprinkle the sugar on 2 more, and then I'll torch 2. Now you notice I've got a pretty heavy duty torch here.
Yeah, it's a little bigger than mine.
There are lots of little torches for sale in kitchen stores, and they're just fine. But if you torch a lot of creme brulee, they can be a little bit problematic in that you have to hang on to the handle pretty hard, and it hurts my hand if I do a lot of it. Also, they cost maybe $20 to $25 usually. This whole contraption is actually a welding torch that I got at the hardware store, and it costs the same. So, and the advantage to it is you don't have to hold the lever down for the flame to be on. It's either on or off.
Okay.
Okay, so now to torch, and then you can just replace this canister for, I think the price is still on here, $2.97. So it's really quite a bit cheaper.
And then, is this the torch stance?
This is
okay.
Right.
Okay,
this is the torch stance.
Okay.
Left foot in front of the right, or right foot in front of the left to support your back.
Perfect.
Just like in exercise class. Actually, I guess I did that. I assumed that for stability. And the only thing you need to know about torching is that there is something called carryover cooking. Doesn't it smell great?
Fabulous.
You can smell that caramelization of the sugar. So you want to put the torch on there until it's almost as brown as you want it to be when you're finished. Then take the torch away, and it will continue to brown a little bit afterward. So there, that one is, I think, done. Would you like to try one?
Sure. So just put the sugar on.
Okay. All right, put the sugar on first. And then you saw how I sort of shook the ramekin to distribute the sugar evenly over it, and then dump the excess sugar back in the ramekin. There you go. Assume the stance.
There is something about holding a tool with heat coming out of it that makes you want to stand like this anyway, though.
Right. Okay, so you're kind of going all over it. I would concentrate more in one area. See how it's getting really dark there?
Yeah. So.
And you don't want to have to go back over an area.
Okay.
So
do what?
So, right. Hold it until it's almost as brown as you want, and then move it off. Good. And be careful about
Yep. I wasn't going to come all the way back.
You notice I put my hair up for this one.
Yeah, no, I'd like you to have me back on, not... I saw you doing something around the edges.
Right. Okay, so I tipped it a little bit on the side.
You
to
tip
get
the
it
torch.
tip the
Oh,
torch to
yep,
get
okay.
it into the sides. There you go. See how you got right up to the edge?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that's all there is to creme brulee. Very good.
All set.
It's beautiful. That's all there is. And remember that these ramekins are quite hot to the touch once you've torched them. Oh, you even knew how to turn it off. Do you
is it all
weld
the way
pipes at
off?
home?
Yes, I do. I don't.
Okay. All right, so imagine dipping your spoon into that and finding a little bit of chocolate in the bottom or some other little kind of surprise or berries. So I would really encourage you to use your imagination when you make this for your kids. If there's some special thing that they like, or use the tinier ramekins so they just have a little bit of dessert and not so many calories. So there you go. I hope you'll try it at home. I'm Chef Lynn from the Flavor Secrets Kitchen. If you would like today's recipe, just email chef@flavorsecrets.com and request it. You can also review any episode by going to www.bloomfieldtwp.org. Click on Video on Demand on the right side of the screen, and then click on Flavor Secrets to choose your episode. Enjoy!